Football is exciting to behold as it is to play. The thrills, the suspense, the wins and the losses just keep you longing to know what will happen next. And while you can only anticipate the next moment on the field, you really can't predict what will happen off the field, especially when you splash $270,000 on a toy that would almost cost your life. In this video, we'll be taking an exclusive look at moments when football players almost died, or should I say, caused their death. See, Neymar always dreamed of living life in the fast lane. So when he got his big paycheck, he thought to himself, since I'm fast on the pitch, I probably need a fast whip on the track. So he splashed over $275,000 on a red Ferrari 458 Spider that can rip to 62 miles an hour in 3 seconds. Trust me, affording this puppy obviously wasn't a big deal to Neymar. I mean, he earns over $180,000 a week, meaning he could afford to buy a Ferrari Spider every 2 weeks. That's crazy. But maybe he should have been thinking twice about living life 200 miles an hour. On the 27th of November 2016, Barcelona was preparing for its clash against Real Sociedad. Neymar woke up to a series of calls from his coach and knew he had to pack things fast to meet up for training before hopping on a flight to San Sebastián. Neymar forgot to check the weather, and I really wouldn't blame him because he had a lot on his mind. From a court case where he faced 2 years in jail and a fine of $10 million to 0 goals in 6 games. That was a whole lot for one man. So he hopped into his red Spider and disappeared in 20 seconds. A couple of minutes later, his teammates tried to call him again, but he wasn't responding. And then they heard what happened in the news. Neymar had been involved in a terrible accident. When the police and paramedics arrived at the scene, they scouted the area and the Brazilian star was nowhere to be found. So everybody began to panic. But just then, he was spotted crawling out of his wrecked Ferrari. Fortunately, Neymar still made it to practice and was late to pictured at the airport, and from then on, he made it his life's mission to dedicate everything to the sport. Neymar was a lucky man after the disaster off the field, but the same can't be said of Lionel Messi, whose on-the-field disaster almost cost him his life. You see, Messi is an intelligent, high-paced player who always wants to get the job done and keep fans happy. But heading into one of the biggest games of his career in April 2017 against Juventus, there wasn't any certainty that even his manager would be pleased with the outcome. It was a highly anticipated Champions League game, and nerves were high because Juventus had already won the first leg 3-0 in Italy. So coming to Spain, Barcelona could only hope for some sort of miracle. Barcelona played fiercely throughout the first half, knowing fully well their legacies were on the line. But coming into the second half, Messi had made his mind up and was prepared for anything. At least, that's what he thought. Desperately looking for an opening goal, both teams slugged it out. And when Messi realized that if his team failed to score, Juve was off to the semi-final, he made a terrible jump towards the end of the half in an attempt to nod the ball from an opponent. This single move was one close shave with death the Argentine will never forget, because after the game, doctors revealed that if he had landed just 3 millimeters higher, there definitely wouldn't have been a next game ever again for him. So despite Barcelona playing a draw and losing out in the quarterfinal, Messi was very lucky. Now, as scary as Messi's situation was, nothing compares to Zlatan Ibrahimovic living every day with a target on his back because of a psycho who just wanted to make the news. You see, throughout the 2000s, Zlatan was one of the best strikers and one of Sweden's most decorated active footballers. And because of his celebrity status, Peter Mange wasn't just another thirsty fan, he was a psycho who saw Zlatan as his next victim. And since Ibrahimovic continuously made the headlines, Peter wanted a taste of the clout for himself. Known as the Malmö street shooter, Peter Mange was one of Sweden's most notorious serial killers. Peter wasn't your regular kind of serial killer. This dude could be taking a walk and see 2 teenagers making out in a car and he wouldn't hesitate to blow their brains out. That's how crazy he was. But on the 6th of November, after going on a 7-year killing spree, the police eventually raided his apartment and had him arrested. Soon he was sentenced to life in prison, but he just couldn't keep his mouth shut as he would later reveal something very shocking. He wrote a book about his life, and in one of the stories he admitted what he secretly did to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Before he nearly committed the sinister crime, Peter would sit in the dark calculating Zlatan's every move and routine. One thing Peter never took his eyes off was Ibrahimovic's supercar obsession. So one day, Zlatan pulled up in his $1 million whip and parked in the middle of the street. So when Peter spotted Zlatan, he knew it was time. Peter wasn't after Zlatan's car, he was more bothered about taking his life, so he rushed home to grab his pistol, but when he returned, Zlatan was gone. Ever since, Zlatan has been cruising around in his whips, partying and even sleeping like a baby because Peter was eventually sentenced to life behind bars. And there's no one else watching his every move from the shadows. And it's a wrap on our side. Which of these almost death moments do you think was the worst? Or did we miss something? Feel free to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell. Have a blessed day, and we'll catch you in the next one.